Hey everyone, this is Ben back with you in the Midwest Model Shops. Welcome back to another episode of Shop Talks. Yes, I am back in the shop for this episode. I didn't film anything while I was on the road. Those of you who are familiar know, you can go ahead and put your device down and just listen to my flibber, flabber, and jibber jabber, or if you want to go ahead and watch, that's cool. I'm just going to show some random stuff while I'm talking, I think, in this episode. I am home. From out west. I got 2 days off, so I flew back in last night. I got in at midnight, and my flight back out west leaves tomorrow at 6 p.m. So, yeah, not a lot of time up, but it's good to come home and see the family and check out everything that's going on and do this quick little video for you folks in the shop. So, what's going on? First of all, right before I left for my trip, I got a bunch of new paints from Life Color. I kind of got all fired up recently about maybe doing an armor build, and I'm thinking German armor. This turned into an interesting evolution because I have built one tank in my entire life. It was a Tamiya 148 scale Tiger 1, and I made it as a diorama. And I think that might have been my first ever diorama, and maybe only. I don't know, actually. I'll put it up here on the screen. I still have it. It's dirty and dusty and rough shape. It made it into Fine Scale Modeler magazine years ago in the reader gallery. It was fun. But anyway, I started thinking about doing armor again, mostly as an excuse to continue expanding my Life Color paint collection. And Life Color paint, just so you guys know, is the immediate direct competitor with KA. KA paints are fantastic, and I think I have some of their stuff over there. So I can get both where I'm at. They're neck and neck. If you're buying KA paints, take a look at Life Color. I think there's a little bit more value per bottle. You get one more bottle than KA sells you, but they have great stuff, and they have, most importantly, matching colors for Model Master paint that no longer exists anymore. So anyway, they have two kits out there for the German Panzers. It's the German Tank Colors 1 and 2, I guess, are the kits. For some reason, well, I talked about this last episode, but with the increased cost of things, it costs quite a bit of money to get the box for the cool set. And through my local hobby shop, I called them up and I said, well, okay, I just want these numbers, these paints. And by doing so, I saved $4 $4 per set less by not buying the box and just ordering the individual specific paints that are called out on the box. So unless you needed the box art for something, I think that's a good way to go. But anyway, I've got my little collection of Life Color paints. So that kind of transitioned into, so my stepson, I think I mentioned before, he recently got into 40K, like big time, playing the game. And for those of you who aren't familiar with 40K, it's a company that's been around for 40 years actually. It's a kind of a sci-fi fantasy based board game, loosely based on reality, starting now, and it takes place 40,000 years into the future, starting now, like this century. And what's cool about it is all of your game pieces are model kits. You have to build and paint your model kits. Those of you in Europe, you already know 40K is huge. It's massive. There's a store in London Heathrow Airport to buy 40K. So anyway, he says we have a shop, a 40K shop, 10 minutes from our house, and he goes there and he plays in tournaments and stuff, and he's made friends with the owner and he buys all this stuff. And the guy Matt, super cool. He knows about this YouTube channel and everything. So my stepson talked him into, hey, why don't you have Ben paint up one of your big display kits for you? I said, oh, we don't have to do that, Stevie. So next thing I know, I guess Matt was like, yeah, that's a good idea, let's do it. And he gave me a kit, and he's like, just get it painted up before Christmas time as like it's a display piece, right? So the store is supposed to build one of these fancy, expensive kits and put it up on display just so people can see it, right, as a prop to get you expired up and everything. So he gave it to me. He's like, paint it up however you want. You can do whatever you want with it. Just make it cool, and get it to me by Christmas time. And I said, I have to leave for a month of October. I'm not going to be able to work on it during that time period. I'll give it back to you. I'm sorry, And he was like, oh no, you hang on to it, and when you come back, finish it up. So I've got this big kit from 40K. It's very nice. And I said, well, I kind of want to do the armor theme for German tanks, right? And that's what my stepson said too, Stevie. He's like, well, this is technically armor, so it's a Knight Castellan from the 40K universe. Those of you familiar will know, and it's a very cool kit, and it's fun. And these guys are kind of independent contractors, if you were. So I think you can get away with doing whatever theme you want. And I told the guy, Matt, what I was thinking about doing, and he said, yeah, just go ahead and do it, and that'll be fine. So, I'm going to whip that up in my spare time. It's 40K kits are very good. Very, very, very high quality model kits. It would be great if they made other products besides their board games, but they're doing so well. Don't change horses midstream. And if you got a horse that only ever wins, and they do, you don't switch, period. So I understand why they're doing what they're doing. Moving along, we're going to do, remember when I said I was going to do a Let Bricks review? Let Bricks is one of those companies out there that's competing with another company you may have heard of, Lego. And so we finally got the Let Bricks kit in the mail. It showed up, I think, last week. I just went and opened it up and checked it out. Nora and I are going to do an unboxing review and build the kit, and we'll compare it and just see what you get. I'm very interested to see just how this plays out, because the options that are there now versus what Lego offers is pretty incredible. The other thing that I don't know about, so I was like, this is obviously a Chinese company. That's where this is coming from. Well, Nora tells me, because I was on the road, she goes, hey, this thing's return address is like 20 minutes from here in the Midwest, like down the street from where we live. So when I got the box, on the box itself in the back, it clearly says from wherever it's at in China that this is where the company is. But she was right. The return address, the return label shipping address is from down the street. So I don't know if they're just producing them overseas and then they were assembled. This kit was done up and put together here in the States and shipped from there. I'm not really sure about their distribution system. That's a very interesting thing that I'm not yet aware of. So I'm hoping we can do the Let Bricks review. Well, if I can't work on it on these brief days when I come home, because it's just assembling the bricks, we'll knock it out right away when I get back. So it'll be like the first week in November. We'll take care of that. My client's Titanic build. I am still picking away at it, and I hope to have a bunch of free time when I get back in the very beginning of November, and I hope to make some serious progress. I want to get it done soon. My client has put zero pressure on me. He knew when I agreed to this, it was like the very first thing I said was, I cannot commit to a timeline. If you need this done like in a year or 6 months or 5 years, I can't commit to that because of the nature of my job. It just changes too much. And this little move that I'm making right now, I'm hoping will create a bunch of stability to my situation, and I will have either guessed correctly with that, or I will have screwed up. We'll see. But it should provide a decent chunk of time off in November to make some serious progress on it. I want to get it done for him and out the door, just because it's time. We're in that final stretch. It's like it's so close to being finished. We need to wrap it up, right? Then I might take a little bit of a break to do some shop remodeling around here. There's some things we want to change, and that if I do that, when I say a little break and change, I mean like 3 or 4 days. Like that's it, right? To knock this stuff out. So not like a big break, but a break. And then we're going to get back into our Titanic, and I'm very excited about that. Neil from Woody's Model Works is going to be sending me a kit that I need, actually, for the interior first class cabins on B deck, because those windows are big enough you could see inside. And I told Neil months ago, I said, hey man, I guess I'm going to be scratch building, an interior in here, just so there's some depth, something to see through the windows, and I'll put a little light in there because the windows are large enough you can see inside. And he said, well, wait a minute. You mean you could use like a photo etch kit there to see? And I said, yes, I could. If you want to make the rooms, that'd be great. And he did. So those of you who have not gone to Woody's Model Works to check out his stuff, you absolutely need to. It's incredible. I mean, he is a seriously talented individual, and he has gotten better at what he does in the last few months because he's been building so much stuff for Titanic. So absolutely check that out. And so we'll be shifting gears because, yeah, it'll be more Titanic, but it's going to be a completely different element, right? My client's build is like put all this stuff together, you get to see the exterior of the ship. It's nice. Our build, the exterior is going to look like the same thing. The emphasis is going to be placed on the interior stuff. We're just going to kind of move along, and because I'm not building it for anyone, I'm going to move along with certain little parts, but definitely we're going to be placing a lot more emphasis on the inside. So in that respect, it's a different kit. And I'm pretty excited about that. So yeah, we'll be doing that. Last thing I was going to bring up here is Patreon. So I've been asked many, many, many times, do you guys have a Patreon account? No, we do not. Except now I do because I set one up the other day. I didn't think... I was like, I have a real problem with Patreon for me and you, the viewer, being involved, because I was like, what are you getting from that? Like, what special thing am I offering you through Patreon? And in my mind, I thought it was nothing, and so that's why I never had one. I was like, we don't need that, and this is not what this is about, and who cares? Well, when we set up the Midwest Model Shop's website and we put items up for sale, that was to help compensate a little bit for what little money this channel brings in. YouTube basically just decided at the beginning of the year they weren't going to pay out anymore, I guess. They just reduced how they did things. And so I was like, well, whatever. Well, let's make some cool, fun stuff for the shop. I've always wanted to have a website. I've never done that before. Nora had all these great ideas for merchandise. And all of you have been incredibly wonderful and supportive about this channel and that stuff. So I was like, okay, you give me money, I give you a T-shirt. You give us some money, I give you a mug. You give us some money, I give you stern plates. So there's this exchange of useful things for you. Because sometimes, and you all know, I'll go a month between videos depending on the build. It's like, what are you getting for your money? So that's the hang-up I had about Patreon. However, I've been advised by people, and also my wife has pointed out, that this takes up a lot of my free time. And I don't care. I also spend a lot of time responding. I try to respond to every single email and every comment. Maybe not every comment, but the legit questions, and definitely emails that I get from people all the time. And then messages that you send either through Facebook or Instagram. I've had huge, long conversations with people over the span of days. And I don't mind that, right? Because someone's asking for help or my opinion, or they have useful information to share with me, which I appreciate very much, by the way, because this is just a perpetual learning process. And it soaks up a lot of my time. And so, and then again, I was asked about, hey, do you guys have a Patreon account? So I thought, all right, I'll set one up. And I'll just create a real basic thing just to get it going that's $1 a month. So if you want to support this channel for a year, it'll cost you $12 over the course of $1 a month. And I don't feel upset about that, because it's occurred to me that maybe some of you feel there's value in what I have to share, and you do feel inclined to support somehow, but you don't want to buy all of our stuff that's now currently out of stock, and you want to do something. And I realize that, and most of you just send me a very nice email, and I really appreciate that. So since Patreon's a thing, I have a Patreon account, and I don't even know how to link it in the video. I'll figure out in the link down below how to put it on there. I'm probably not going to plug it. I'm probably just going to, it'll just be there. If you feel inclined to make some sort of donation to this channel, thank you very much. We don't need it, but you can, and I'll just put it down there. So, yeah, that's that. Feel free to comment about that. You know, yeah, I guess that's just kind of what I think about all that. So I think that's going to be it for right now. I hope all of that sounded interesting and you know what's kind of happening and going on. Last thing I want to comment about, a guy in Germany, I stumbled onto his video. He's got a small channel, and you'll forgive me, I don't remember what it is. He brought up the subject of self-censorship. Oh, I'm saying that wrong. Self-censorship. And obviously that has to do with swastikas on German aircraft in World War II and some ships. And he went on and on and on about how people are posting things on Instagram and on Facebook and YouTube, and they're either putting a logo over the tail, or they're blurring it out altogether, or they're changing the insignia altogether. Yeah, you know, and his point was, why are we doing that? It's a historical item. When these aircraft and ships and tanks existed, this was the symbol that was painted on them. People argue that models need to be accurate and correct. I don't subscribe to that mentality completely, but yeah, if it's going to be a model of a historical thing and accurate and correct, you're going to have that image on it. Why are you going to hide it? If you build a model and you put a swastika on it because it was there, does that make you a bad person? I don't think so. People who choose to censor you because you built a model, you made it accurate, and you put that item on there, and they're like, oh no, we can't have that, we're gonna ban you, or we're gonna shut down your account, or we're gonna take your picture down, they're wrong. They're wrong. History is doomed to repeat itself. I'm a huge history fan. I've studied history all my life. History always repeats itself. It repeats itself because people don't want to study the mistakes that we've already made. They don't want to be aware of what happened. They don't want to look at what steps took place in a certain order to cause one society to end up in a different position. I mean, it throughout history, technology's just improved, basically, but we do the same things as a civilization. So censoring that is bad. That's a bad thing. So I'm not going to do that on this channel. If there's a swastika on one of my models, it's there because it's supposed to be there. And that's the way it is. I understand in certain European countries, Germany especially, they have laws about this type of thing. I wish that... I'm not aware of a German who is alive today who is responsible for any atrocities caused in the war. So should we hold any of them responsible? You know what I mean? Like, it gets all crazy real fast. It's just silly. It's just silly. There's no point in getting all fired up about that. If your model has swastika, it has swastika on it. I mean, if it was there, it was there. If you're a crazy lunatic today, you know, that type of thing is easily identified, I think. And there, if you want to have some sort of censorship, well, then I understand that. But for the model building community, and for anyone who's at all interested in history and understands what's going on, hiding that kind of stuff is I think, a mistake, because, you know, real easily the good guy can be the bad guy. It just, history's written by the victors. That's just the way that it is. So you just want to keep that in mind. Anyway, that's all I really have to say about that. I hope you've all enjoyed this little bit of shop talk. Please feel free to leave a comment down below. I know I touched on a lot of things, and some of them are a little controversial. But yeah, that's it. I hope you're all doing well, enjoying the fall, and we'll see you next time.